A platoon of 20 has become 7 after a battle with the Legion. And 3 of those are infected with white chlorination syndrome. Those afflicted by the disease find their fate in one of 2 ways. They either turn to salt and die, or become monsters called Legion. Yet the platoon has not surrendered hope. The organization has given them a mission. They are to find a researcher who is afflicted with white chlorination syndrome, yet retains a sense of self. If they can do this, they may learn of a way to best the disease. They believe because they must. Twilight. Boots clack over a cold floor. The smell of chemicals moves through the boy's nose. The platoon slowly picks their way through a research facility. The researcher should be here somewhere. They were lucky not to encounter more Legion on the way here, or the red eye that controls them. But as they venture through the facility, disappointment colors their faces. The corridor is quiet as the dead. Clumps of salt lie scattered at their feet. The girl with crooked teeth walks beside the boy. Though her expression remains haughty, her hands, white with disease, quiver slightly. The red-headed girl speaks to her kindly. "It's okay. It's going to be okay. We just have to find the researcher." After wandering the halls of the Silence facility, they find the researcher's name tag. It rests atop a pile of salt in the shape of a human. The boy turns away from his despairing companions and reaches for a sheaf of research documents next to the pile. He flips through the pages and finds accounts of white chlorination syndrome. There is no going back, no cure. Once a person contracts the disease, there is no way to recover. With that, their last thread of hope goes taut and snaps. A researcher who retains his wits despite the disease? It is nonsense, madness. All the boy can do is chuckle. The Legion, white chlorination syndrome. After battling for so long against despair, this is what greets them. He crumples the documents in his fist and begins to roar with laughter. A fist of white. There are 7 survivors, all of whom are now infected. Their bodies no longer obey. All they can do is huddle together in the darkness. The backup they requested is nowhere to be found. They cannot proceed, and they cannot go back. "Hey," says a small voice, breaking the silence. It is the girl with crooked teeth. "Sorry for calling you feeble, kid." Her apology delivered, she slowly begins to tell about herself, as if she is looking back on her life in the face of oblivion. She wanted to do more for the organization, but she didn't get along with the brass, and before she knew it, she was labeled a reject. "Sounds familiar," chuckles the redhead. Nods move around the room. All of them are a slightly different version of the same story. At first, they all dreamed of being outstanding members of the organization. But once they were labeled as rejects, loneliness crushed whatever hopes they once had. Yet, as they sit in this place and slowly turn to salt, they find themselves filled with a shared happiness. If this is to be their end, at least they are able to share it together. "What about you?" asks the girl with crooked teeth. "What did you dream of?" She turns to the quiet boy, who thinks carefully for a moment. Then he answers, "I wanted to be a person worthy of my older sister." Beyond the window, the large moon hanging in the night sky casts a faint rainbow across the clouds. The boy's calcified hand catches the light and shimmers like a crystal. Looking over the room, he sees the same pale glow surrounding each of his new friends. There are worse ways to go than this, he thinks, as he lets his eyes slip closed. Morning comes. He wakes to a scream. The girl with crooked teeth is no longer smiling. Instead, she has torn the throat out of one of their companions. Madness has taken her. She will become Legion. The red-headed girl turns her gun on the thing that was once her friend, but she cannot pull the trigger. The quiet boy bites his lip and shuts down his own emotions. He snatches the gun away and shoots the maddened girl through the head. 5 now remain, including himself. They all thought they would sit in that place and wait for death. But as that shot rings out, something happens. The organization's reinforcement helicopter finally arrives, the rumble of its landing shaking the facility. A voice comes from static. "Do we have any survivors here? Please respond." The boy replies in a quiet voice, gazing at the corpses of his comrades as he does. 5 living, and with nothing to show for it. They are taken into organizational custody, leaving the salt-drenched facility behind. And though they have lost much, despair has been held at bay for the moment.